Welcome to today's S&D press conference. Today for the S&D Group, we have Maria João Rodrigues speaking as Vice President responsible for Parliamentary Affairs.
This is a pleasure to be with you. And this week, as you know, is a very special week because beyond this plenary, we have a special summit taking place in Gothenburg to proclaim the European Pillar of Social Rights. I would like to underline this is the third time we have important commitment taken at the same time by the European Parliament, the European Commission, and the European Council, not only the Council, but the European Council. It happened once in order to proclaim the Charter of Fundamental Rights. It happened again during a German presidency in 2006 to proclaim a Declaration on the Future of Europe, and is happening now to proclaim the Pillar of Social Rights. Why is that so? Because we want to have the highest commitment we can have, meaning the three institutions and all governments. This proclamation is just a start, I'd like to underline, to build up this European pillar with impact on the ground. Nevertheless, this is important because it was decided, according to our proposal, this will be for all member states and not only for the Eurozone. And it involves 20 principles to cope with the situation we now have in Europe with all kinds of citizens, starting with children, young people, men and women, when they reconcile family life with working life, but most of all, making sure that all people in employment, they can count on a clear and decent labor contract, and they can count on full access to social protection. This is becoming more and more important because we have worrying trends in the labor market, and we have the impact of the current digital revolution, which is bringing new jobs, but we want to have good jobs. So we'll pay attention to the implementation of this pillar. You should know this involves more than 4 directives. This involves the orientation of economic and social policies, but also these involve financial means, the community budget and the Eurozone fiscal capacity. Another important topic for this week in Strasbourg is what is happening with the Paradise Papers. We consider this a total scandal, adding to the Panama Papers. This means that we have established practices of organizing tax avoidance and tax evasion, and we cannot accept this, and that's why we, S&D Group, we propose to create a special committee, a temporary one, to deal immediately with this scandal, because we want to have a quick response. And then we also understand and we think that we should create a permanent structure in the European Parliament to deal and to respond in depth to this scandal of the tax avoidance. Then in this plenary, I think we should also underline the importance of what is happening in Poland. We'll have an important debate on the situation, which is extremely worrying, because we don't see the government complying with the recommendations coming from the European Commission, from the concerns clearly expressed from the European Parliament. In Poland, fundamental principles of democracy, such as independent judiciary and independent media, they are being not at all respected by the current legal framework being built up by the government. We cannot accept this. There are clear recommendations towards the Polish government, and let me tell you that if the Polish government doesn't abide for this, doesn't comply with these recommendations, Well, there is an article in the EU treaties, Article 7, which is on the table and can be used. So let us be very, very clear. And we are sure that we have strong public opinion in Poland supporting this. Then I must also refer to what happened recently in Malta. Because all the case regarding the journalist of Daphne is something simply absolutely shocking. We cannot accept that a journalist with a high reputation for looking for truth was condemned in such an ugly way. We are completely shocked with this, and we are in favor of an independent investigation to check until the detail what was behind this. As you know, we also have a resolution being discussed in the Parliament about the situation in Malta. There is a joint resolution. We are tabling amendments to the joint resolution, but I should tell you that in parallel we also prepare an S&D resolution, because we want also to make it clear that Malta is not a case similar to the one we have in Poland or Hungary. Because in Poland and Hungary we have a systemic breakdown of the rule of law. In Malta, we have cases which need to be checked strongly with independent investigation. But this is a different type of case, and that's why, while we negotiate the joint declaration from the Parliament, we also have an S&D resolution. Last but not least, the situation regarding the refugees front. We are approaching winter, and you remember that last year it was just dramatic, because we had many refugees coming to European coasts and just dying because of the cold. This time we want to have a winter plan to receive refugees properly and making sure that these tragic events don't happen again. So this is the purpose of the debate we'll have, and we'll be very clear on the urgency of organizing this winter plan. I'd like to conclude with something which is a crucial issue regarding European asylum system, is the fact that the European Parliament, via the Committee of Libe, was able to reach a very important agreement to reform the Dublin system and to making sure that the countries in charge of receiving refugees are not only those who are on the borderline of Europe, particularly in the south or even in the eastern part. We need to have a fair share of this important task of receiving refugees properly. So the Parliament delivered, and now our message goes strongly to the Council, because we cannot accept that the Council drags the feet like that and goes on in denial regarding what is happening with the refugees' tragedy. We have a clear position, a real reform of the European asylum system. We want now the Council to deliver, and deliver quickly. So these are our main points, and now I'm at your disposal for whatever you want to ask. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maria João Rodrigues. Now it's time for questions. Are there any questions? Please indicate your name and media. Anna?
I have a question on you're being shocked with the Malta situation, but aren't you not shocked with the situation in Spain when the Speaker of the Parliament had to spend a night in jail? And so you think the breaches of human rights in Spain are systemic or they're accidental?
In fact, the Catalonia case is also important and central concern for us. Of course, I regret that these kind of acts are taking place in Catalonia, starting with the way the referendum was handled, and now the situation where elected people are arrested and presented to court. Nevertheless, let me tell you something very clear, because I think that this could have been handled in another way. But we also need to be clear that the European Constitution, the Constitution in Spain is a democratic one, and it was based on a negotiation using full democratic procedures. Therefore, if now we want to adapt to the new situation, the only possible way is not confrontation, is to go to the negotiation table and to consider this constitutional framework using the democratic procedures established by the Spanish Constitution. Second point, let me be clear about the nature of this movement in Catalonia. Of course, we need to respect when a certain region in Europe has a strong identity. Europe has many regions like that, and this is a wealth. But we cannot accept that this is being used to spread a clear illusion that Catalonia or any other regions in Europe will be better off by declaring independence. Because the European project is based on cooperation in a democratic framework. And this is the way to be taken. And the Catalonia case is a good example from all over Europe. The way for us to prosper and to ensure democracy, which are deep values of the European project, is to discuss in democratic terms, on the table, the framework, but not going to the big illusion of declaring independence.
Thank you. There's a question up there. Please indicate your name and media. Thank you.
Fernanda Gabriel, televisão portuguesa. Eu queria lhe fazer uma pergunta sobre os Paradise Papers. Há cerca de 50 portugueses, personalidades portuguesas, que fazem parte da lista. Qual é a atitude que o governo português deverá ter em relação a estas pessoas?
Sorry, but Portuguese hasn't been provided.
Cabe ao governo português definir a sua posição, não me cabe a mim. No entanto, I'm sorry, I was being told that I cannot speak in Portuguese.
The interpreters would like to remind you that no provision has been made for Portuguese at this meeting.
So I should go on in English. It's up to the Portuguese government to define its positions, but what I can tell you as an S&D group is that we want, as members of the European Parliament, to put a clear light on this, whatever the cost, because we consider that we cannot accept organized channels of tax evasion and tax avoidance, while on the other hand, we miss the resources for fundamental things to improve European citizen life. I just spoke at the beginning on the need to implement the European social pillar. This will involve important financial resources because making the access to skills for everybody, building up a real child guarantee, financing the youth guarantee at a much higher level because we still have a high youth unemployment. All this means a lot of resources, and we cannot accept to be told that there is no money for this. Yes, the money is there. We have a lot of money, but in the wrong places. This is our position.
Est-ce qu'il y a d'autres questions de votre part? Oui.
Are there any other questions? Yes, go ahead, please.
Hello, good morning. Norma.
Dzień dobry. Telewizja maltańska. Wskazywała Pani na Polskę, a także sytuację w Hiszpanii. Ja pochodzę z Malty. Zgadzam się, że jest szokującym, jak zabito panią Galicja, ale z drugiej strony pytam, dlaczego Parlament Europejski zgodził się debatować i przygotować rezolucję o Malcie? Czy to jest kwestia podwójnych standardów, czy to dlatego, że Malta jest najmniejszym państwem członkowskim? I dlatego właśnie Parlament skupia się na Malcie w czasie obecnej sesji, podczas gdy inne państwa członkowskie również naruszają praworządność. Powiedziałem, że dla socjalistów istnieje różnica pomiędzy takimi krajami jak Polska i Węgry, gdzie mamy ogólne niepowodzenie w przestrzeganiu rządów prawa, gdy chodzi o niezależność, niezawisłość sądownictwa i wolność prasy. To są ogólnoustrojowe problemy w przypadku Węgier i Polski, natomiast gdy chodzi o Malcie, tak tej sytuacji nie traktujemy. Należy obserwować sytuację na Malcie, podobnie jak we wszystkich innych państwach członkowskich, gdy chodzi o przestrzeganie praworządności. Natomiast gdy chodzi o przypadek Malty, musimy się skupić na tym, co się kryje za tym przypadkiem. Zabójstwa tej dziennikarki, natomiast konieczne jest gruntowne dochodzenie, aby ustalić tło i sprawców tego zabójstwa niezależnej dziennikarki.
EPP defends governments that implement laws that weaken the institution, but on the other hand, the Maltese government introduced laws like the Whistleblower Act and party finances. Do you think that the EPP is playing a political game?
Well, I think so, in fact, because this is being used by EPP to suggest that in the end, Poland and Hungary are not alone. And there are other cases, and Malta should be referred as a similar case. And let me be clear, these are two different cases. We have a fundamental attempt to the rule of law when it comes to the way the political system works as a whole in Poland and Hungary. In Malta, this is not the situation. But we have a case which now is extremely worrying and deserves full, in-depth, independent investigation.
Thank you very much. If there are more questions, we can take them outside. We have to now hand over. Merci et une bonne semaine.